This is part 3. Hopefully we can get it finished by this part. So what we're gonna do next, we've got the player and it's, you can see how it's moving away. You can see that there's a physics body, and yeah, there's also the edge. It also collides with the edge. So that's good. Of course, there's a bit of latency with, and a bit of lag because, of course, I'm recording and this is Swift Playground, so it's kind of running a bit of an app inside an app, if you get what I mean. So, I mean, yeah. When I do my WWDC project, sometimes it crashes because, yeah. But, I found a way around it and it doesn't crash anymore. But, yeah, that's something you have to watch out when you're making Swift Playground projects. It gets kind of slow, especially when you're recording a video like this. Alright, so you've got that done. I think what I'm gonna do is, for the person, I'm going to choose a random person to be infected with coronavirus. Of course, it can be any virus, of course. Actually, first of all, what we should be doing is for each person in all the people there are, I'm gonna actually make it launch, or add an impulse to it so it can bounce around and all that. So I'm gonna do person.physicsBody dot apply impulse, and that's gonna be a CG vector, and there's gonna be you can see there's dx and dy. That just means direction x and direction y. So each are gonna be a CG float, and this is gonna be a random number. So arc for random uniform, and this is gonna be the max person speed, and of course this is going to be so for max person speed, that's going to be, max person speed is going to not be a CG float, but a uint32. Okay, so there's a problem. Oh, this has to be an integer, so no decimals. So max person speed, and that's going to be minus the max person speed, times 0.5. And so what I'm going to do, so it can go forwards or backwards. So its maximum speed is actually 50, but that's a range. So it can go up to 50 or minus 50. And there's, right, because this is a uint32. So I'm just going to convert this to a CG float by encasing it around CG float. Now, the same thing should, it should be the same thing for the direction y. So that's what I'm going to do. Maybe if I enclose this, that should be the fix. So there we go. So if I run my code, hopefully it bounces around. Hopefully. So it's doing all the stuff. Okay, there we go. Now it's bouncing around. There we go. Of course they're going at different speeds, but once they bounce around, they should start to pick up some speed. This one here is a little slow, but that's fine. And of course, you can't really see the physics body, so you can't really see the social distancing. So we should probably add a outline to that, but I'm gonna do that later. Now what we're going to do is choose a random person and make that the infected enemy. So I'm gonna create a constant called infected enemy, and that's going to be people, and I'm gonna select a random player. Random person. So that's gonna be an integer, and that's going to be arc for random uniform, and the maximum number is going to be people dot count. yeah, so now we've selected a random player. And now what we're going to do is set the texture to some, virus texture or an image, just to, just so we know that the person's actually infected. In real life, like I said, it's gonna be, you won't know who's infected, but this game lets you know who's infected, which is good. And this is gonna be a image, and okay, there we go. So I'm just gonna select an image, insert from, and I'm gonna do people enemy. That's the name of the image. I don't know why. Sometimes the images, they just double, so that just happens sometimes. Doesn't happen every time though, so that's pretty interesting. Anyways, just ignore that. It's not too big of a deal. So I'm gonna do infected enemy dot physics body dot category bit mask equals bit masks dot enemy. So now if I run this, oh, there's another problem. Cannot convert type. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to actually convert this to a uint32. So we're actually converting this to a uint30, an integer to a uint32 back into an integer. So it's, yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, sometimes you just have to do that. Alright, so it's loading, and hopefully we should be seeing a random person being the enemy. There we go. You can see that's a virus. Of course, once it bounces around, it's not going to infect because we haven't added that code yet. Yeah, so I think the second last thing that we have to do is we should probably add like a circle around so we can see the bubble or the social distancing thing. So I'm gonna create another file called extensions. Now in extensions, I'm going to actually what I'm going to do is do an extension of sknode. Now sknode is pretty much just an object. SpriteNode is a node with an image, and so far we've just been using SpriteNodes. nodes. So what we're going to do is, before that, we need to import UIKit because, SpriteKit, not UIKit, just so, it knows what an sknode is. So what we're going to do is actually create a function inside sknode called add circle. So we can specify the radius. That's going to be a CG float. The edge color, which is the color of the rim outside. That's going to be UI color. And filled, and that's going to be a boolean. And so filled is just to check, so the player is going to be one with a circle that's filled, so you know which player or which one is a player, even though there's different images, but it just helps with distinction. So inside this, I'm gonna create a circle. So that circle equals skShapeNode. Now this is just an object of a shape. So this is gonna be a circle of radius, and this is gonna be maybe this is gonna be radius of radius. Obviously. I'm gonna make the circle's Z position to be -3, so it's pushed behind, and the circle stroke color, or the edge color, is gonna be the edge color. And now for the fill color, what I'm gonna do now is a one-line if statement. So filled. So I'm going to check, is it filled? If it's true, if it's going to be a filled circle, that's going to be the edge color. But I'm going to add a bit of, I'm going to make it semi-transparent. So I can do edge color dot with alpha component, and I'm setting the alpha value to 0.3. Now, if it's not filled, then it's just going to be clear. Now, what we can do is add child circle. Okay, now we're not done yet because this circle or this function needs to be called by the player and all of that. So what I'm gonna do is under player, I'm gonna add player dot add add circle, and you can see that's added as a function because extensions pretty much adds an extension function or extension stuff to the to these objects. So I can do add circle, and if you're wondering why this is sk node and this is an sk sprite node and it's still working, it's because sk sprite node inherits from sk node, so it's getting all the functions from sk node plus extra functions because it's an sk sprite node. So that's a good thing about inheritance. So radius, of course, is going to be the social distancing length. So I can just copy it from the physics body because it's going to be the same size as a physics body. Now for the edge color, this is going to be, I'm going to make this dark green because players should be green and filled true. And I'm just going to copy and paste this into the person as well. There we go. Player.add circle. Player.size.width. And this is going to be, what color should it be? It should be light gray. I think light gray is a good color. Especially as it goes well with the background as well. Filled false, because this is not the player. We want it to be not filled. So now we've got all of them filled. Now, how about the enemy? You may wonder. Well, for the enemy, we can do. I'm actually going to access the circle. So I'm just going to do infected enemy, and I'm putting this inside brackets for a certain reason. So infected enemy dot children, and I'm just going to get the first one. Now, why children dot first? Now why now this is going to be an sk node because it doesn't know if it's a shape node because children can be of any type. It could be a sprite node, or it could be a node, or a shape node, So I'm just gonna turn this into an sk shape node by doing as sk shape node, because it might not be an sk shape node because the computer doesn't know if that is. Anyways, I'm going to set the stroke color now to red. Now we don't have to set the fill color because it's not filled up. Now if we run my code, should be working. Hopefully it works. Now after this, I think we should be almost done. After that, we can do the infections and game over. That should be pretty easy. And oh, that's interesting. That is real interesting. Oh, I see why. I can see why. This is because this is player meant to make a person. So if you already picked this up, then good job, you picked it up. Alright, so hopefully it should work. It should work. Fingers crossed. It's loading all the stuff. There we go. There we go. It works. Of course, it's a little laggy, but for you, it should not be laggy. It should be pretty good. There should be a bit of latency. Of course, you can't really do much about that. It's just how the game works. You could, what you could do is maybe, turn up the FPS, but that also depends on your computer as well, and how well it can handle the game, of course, as well as soft playgrounds on top of that, and for me, the video recording on top of that. Anyways, that's all good. All right, now we're gonna do down bottom. We're gonna do did begin. We're on the final stretch, guys. We're almost done. Just hang in there. So now we're gonna do did begin in contact. What we're gonna do now is check. Okay, who are we spreading the coronavirus to? Is it a normal person or is it the player? Because it's gonna do different things. For a player, it's gonna trigger a game over. Alright, so okay. If the contact, so I'm just gonna do if contact.body a dot category bit mask equals to bit masks dot normal person, and contact dot body b dot category bitmask is equal to bitmasks dot enemy. Just gonna there we go. Now, oh, also one thing. If you realized through all three parts, behind me is a duck. You can see there's a duck behind me. So if you picked it up, good job. Anyways, so what we're doing here is checking both, both physics bodies and see, okay, is it, which one's, if this is a normal person and if the other one is the enemy, because sometimes something might happen. When I was testing, the person would turn into the enemy if it bounced off the wall, so that's why I just added a second check for the enemy. There's a problem here. Bitnast has, it's not a normal person, it's an uninfected person. So, in there, we're gonna infect, we're gonna create a function called infect. But I'm gonna do the same thing, else if, for B and A, because it could be the other way around. Now, else if, and I can do the exact same thing, or actually, I'm just going to use this one, and this is going to be player. What does this say? Uninfected person. This is really weird. Person, and okay. So I'm just going to check if both are the player, because for some reason the player does not, hit the player doesn't hit the wall and it doesn't really call the did begin function. So that's interesting. Something to check. Okay, so if that happens, let's see. Else if player. Oh, okay, it's gone. There's nothing. Okay, now we're really close. Just gonna create a function called trigger game over. That's gonna be 1, and also another one called infect. So func infect, and this is in this we're gonna put in person. Okay, person. That's gonna be SK_sprite node. I'm gonna add an optional because actually nah, I'm not gonna add an optional. I was thinking about adding an optional because for a body beat, sometimes there might not be a node, but we know there's gonna be a node because it's spreading the coronavirus, and there's definitely a contact. So there's definitely a person that actually exists. So what I'm gonna do now is copy the text from here, because this is pretty much the infecting code. So, but what we're gonna do is replace infected enemy with person. So there we go. And that's how you do the person for the infection. Now we can just put in we can just do call the function infect person. Which person? Person is the sk, or is contact dot for this case it's body A that's being infected dot node, and I'm just gonna unwrap that, or actually maybe it's this one. Wait, let's see. I'm just gonna parse this as an SK_sprite node. There we go. Same thing with this one because it's body B. And alright, with this one I'm just gonna trigger the game over or call that function because we haven't added that yet. So what we're gonna do is set game over to true, and that prevents the player from being from being dragged around because it's game over. What we're gonna do is get the player, and then set the texture to uh, a worried face instead of the virus, because we want to differentiate it. So of course you're inserting another what is it, emoji or image, and this is a game over image, a very worried face. Yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do now is copy this stuff, and we're gonna paste this twice because we're changing the outline and also the fill color. So I'm also gonna make this orange because we want this to be a little different. Now, okay, so this is gonna be the fill color, and we want to make this dot orange dot with alpha component 0.3. Okay, let's see if this. Okay. Oh wait, there's a problem. Okay. This one is kind of weird, but the way I went around fixing it is to just manually type in the colors. So I can do dot init, and that creates a color with different, where you can put in different colors or different RGB channels. So for the red, it's going to be fully red, half green, and no blue. Alpha, that's going to be 0.3, so 30% opaque, so it's semi-transparent, so you can see through. Now we've done the player, we're gonna loop through all the people. So for person in people, I'm gonna set each person's physics body and set velocity to .0. And so what we're going to do now is, what that's going to do is just stop for the people, or so they're just frozen, because we want to kind of like freeze a thing once it's game over. Okay, finally, the very final thing is let game over is to create a game over label, just to say, hey, you're infected. That's it. Yeah, so SK label node, it's going to be an SK label node, and it should be, I'm going to add, okay, I'm just going to scroll through and add the text, and we should make it really loud, so turning on my caps lock. Okay, you've been infected. And you've been infected. That's, I don't know. Just infected. Game over. Oh, my caps lock is still on. I'm still shouting. So game over label. And I'm just gonna set the font size to be something relatively big. So 70. That's pretty big. Game over label. And that's gonna be, position is going to be the center, so CG point x is frame dot mid x, and this is going to be frame dot mid y. Very good. That's it. Or that's almost it. I'm going to set the Z position to be 3, so it pops out in front. For the font color, so game over label dot font color, that's gonna be a white color, so dot white, and I'm just gonna add the child, and that's gonna be game over label. All right, so I think that's all we have to do. If this is done, I'm just gonna end the video. I can see it's 25 minutes. Part 3 is 25 minutes long, so that's fine. So it's letting in all the stuff. This is really exciting. Alright. Oh. I don't want to get infected by the coronavirus. This is, okay. It's spreading. It's spreading. By the way, if you add more people, it spreads a lot quicker, which is pretty good. So, okay, let me just try to, okay, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna sacrifice myself just to check the game over. Oh no, I'm getting closer to coronavirus. Oh wait, it's not. Seems like it's not working. Oh, oh, I realize what's happening. This is an and it has to be or because there's only one player for this, so it's checking if body A or body B is a player. So okay, time to sacrifice myself. All right, sacrifice myself for video because we want to see what happens if I get infected. Uh, uh, uh. All right. Oh, I've been infected. Um, seems like I need to. Oh, it's so close. I'm just gonna set for this. All right, time to sacrifice myself once again. This is my third sacrifice. Um, all right, let's see what happens. It's just loading. Okay. Oh, I just saw someone like run into coronavirus. That's really sad. Oh, I've been infected. Bad luck. Of course, for me, it's a little choppy. I'm not sure how it's gonna come out in the video, but um, yeah. For you, it's gonna be a lot smoother since I'm recording, and yeah, I might have to get some eGPU or something to speed up my computer. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, yeah. So you've created a coronavirus game. I mean, yeah. Well, all I can say is, remember to practice social distancing. Remember to wash your hands properly, and goodbye, and stay safe.